In the year 530 BCE, the boundless steppes of Central Asia became the arena for a clash that would echo through the ages. Cyrus the Great, the unrivaled conqueror who forged the Persian Empire, faced a foe unlike any other, not in the grandeur of a battlefield, but in the wild, unforgiving expanse of the steppes. He met Queen Tomyris of the Massagetae, a warrior whose name would be etched in history as both liberator and avenger. What unfolded was not just a tale of defeat, but a story of vengeance so fierce it would redefine the meaning of retribution. Cyrus had built the largest empire the world had ever known, stretching from the Mediterranean to the Hindu Kush. For 30 years, his genius for war and calculated mercy had toppled kingdoms and bent nations to his will. Yet beyond the Jaxartes River in the lands of the Massagetae, he faced a people who lived by the sword, drank mare's blood mixed with milk, and worshipped the god of war. This was a society of nomadic warriors, where women fought alongside men, and leadership was earned through blood and valor, not birthright. At their helm stood Tomyris, a queen who rose to power through unmatched ruthlessness and skill, her authority forged in the crucible of combat. Cyrus, ever the strategist, first sought to conquer the Massagetae without bloodshed. He proposed marriage to Tomyris, a ploy to absorb her lands into his empire. But Tomyris saw through his scheme. Her refusal was swift, her words a blade: no Persian would cross her lands and live. The rejection stung Cyrus's pride, a wound deeper than any military defiance. To him she was a barbarian queen daring to challenge the king of kings. He resolved to crush her, to add her name to his roster of vanquished royalty. He could not know he was walking into a trap more cunning than any he had faced. The Persian advance began with a display of technical might. Cyrus's engineers built a bridge across the Jaxartes, a marvel that showcased the empire's superiority. His scouts reported the Massagetae retreating, seemingly unwilling to face his army. To Cyrus, this was proof that barbaric courage faltered before civilized power. He pressed forward, his veteran soldiers cutting through the steppes like a blade. But Tomyris was not retreating in fear. She was luring the Persians deeper away from their supplies into a landscape where her cavalry held every advantage. The steppes, empty to Persian eyes, hid water sources, secret camps, and ambush points, known only to the Massagetae. Her trap was devastatingly simple. She sent a small force to stage a retreat, leading the Persians to a camp stocked with wine, a luxury rare among her people. Believing they had won an easy victory, the Persians celebrated, drinking deeply. Among them was Spargapises, Tomyris' son, captured in the skirmish. This was no accident. It was part of her plan. She knew his capture would ignite her vengeance, giving her cause to unleash her full wrath. When news of her son's capture reached her, Tomyris sent a message to Cyrus, a blend of diplomacy and defiance. She offered to trade a third of her army for her son, appealing to Cyrus's honor while daring him to refuse. Cyrus, blinded by his victories, rejected her offer, choosing to use Spargapises as a hostage to force her submission. He misjudged her. In Massagetae culture, death in battle was more honorable than captivity. When Spargapises realized he was a pawn in Cyrus's game, he chose the warrior's path. He asked for his bonds to be loosened, then took his own life, sparing his mother and people the shame of his subjugation. The news struck Tomyris like a thunderbolt. Her grief was vast, but it fueled a fury that would stain the steppes with blood. She sent one final message to Cyrus, her words a vow of vengeance. "Bloodthirsty Cyrus," she said, "do not rejoice in this victory. You Persians drink wine until madness overtakes you, and evil words rise within. But I swear by the sun, the Lord of the Massagetae, I will give you your fill of blood." Her promise was no idle threat. In Massagetae belief, blood was sacred, a vessel of life and power. Tomyris's oath bound her to a ritual of vengeance, one that would shake the ancient world. She rallied the full might of the Massagetae Confederation, a coalition of tribes united under her iron will. Unlike the Persian army with its heavy infantry and supply lines, her warriors were a swarm of mounted archers striking and vanishing into the steppes. Their composite bows could pierce armor at distances that mocked Persian tactics. Their steppe ponies, fed on grass, outlasted the grain-fed Persian cavalry. They fought not for conquest, but for their homeland, their resolve unmatched by any professional army. Tomyris chose her battlefield with care, near a river crossing where the Persians could not easily retreat. The battle was chaos, a storm of arrows from every direction. The Massagetae struck without warning, their horsemen appearing and vanishing like specters. The Persian infantry, the backbone of Cyrus's victories, was helpless against an enemy that refused to stand still. Cyrus fell in the fray, his death shrouded in dispute. Some say an arrow struck him as he rallied his men. Others claim he was overwhelmed in a desperate charge. What is certain is that his death broke the Persian army. Without their king, they crumbled, most never seeing Persia again, their bones left to the merciless steppe. But for Tomyris, victory was not enough. Her son's death demanded more. She ordered her warriors to find Cyrus's body among the thousands of dead. When it was brought before her, she faced the remains of the man who had dared to challenge her. What followed was a ritual of vengeance that would horrify the civilized world. She commanded a wineskin be filled with Persian blood, a sacred act in her culture. Taking Cyrus's severed head, she thrust it into the blood, speaking to the fallen emperor. "I am alive," she said, "and I have conquered you. You destroyed me by taking my son with treachery. Now I give you your fill of blood." This was no act of rage, but a deliberate ritual binding Cyrus's spirit to an eternity of unrest, a punishment rooted in Massagetae beliefs. The act shocked Persians and Greeks alike, who saw only barbaric cruelty. But to the Massagetae, it was justice, a message to all who would invade their lands. Word of Cyrus's fate spread, carried by survivors and traitors, growing into legend. Herodotus recorded it as a warning against hubris, a lesson in the dangers of underestimating one's foe. The Persian Empire reeled from the loss. Cyrus's son Cambyses took the throne, but the northern frontier remained closed. No Persian king would challenge the steppes again. Tomyris's victory reshaped history. Her tactics, using speed and terrain to outmaneuver a stronger foe, became a model for nomadic warriors from the Scythians to the Mongols. She proved that even the mightiest empire could fall to those deemed barbarians. Her story challenges us to rethink power, gender, and justice. To Cyrus, his campaign was just another conquest. To Tomyris, it was a fight for her people and her son. Their clash, born of irreconcilable values, reminds us that the greatest conflicts arise not from evil, but from the collision of worlds. Tomyris did not just defeat Cyrus, she erased his legacy in the steppes. Her name a testament to the power of a mother's vengeance and the strength of a people who would not yield.